Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea, hope you're all well. So, it's been a little while since I did a video on behalf of Revv Amplification. If you've never heard of Revv before, I'll put a link in the description box to their website. They're one of the kind of go-to amp brands that do the kind of modern, heavy, progressive metal amplifier tones. They've got great gain tones, really full and thick, but they're also really good with cleans and crunches, and a lot of guys in the Nashville scene use Revv amps as well. They've got a great range of different amps for different kind of players. All Revv amplifiers are hand-built out in Canada, and I've known Dan and Derek from Revv for many years now, and they're great friends. I'd like to see them every time we go to the NAMM show and catch up and have a good chat, so really appreciate them getting in touch for me to check out this amplifier. In this video, we're going to be checking out the Revv Generator 100R Mark III, which is a 100 watt 46L6 512AX7 3-channel amplifier with a ton of amazing features that I'll get into in a moment. Just need to give you this quick disclaimer. This is a paid video. Revv have paid me to check out this amplifier. So any opinions I have of this amplifier, purely my own. You take from that what you will. I'll let you know what they are at the end. I'll give you my thoughts on the amp at the end. But really the point of this video is for me to show you what this amp sounds like, go through the features, play a bunch of different guitars for you to make up your mind if this is something you like the sound of, and therefore go and try it for yourself or buy one. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. So the Revv Generator 100R Mark III. For me, this is one of those amps that's bridging the gap between your traditional amp and the modern day digital technology. In other words, this amp's great on the stage or in the studio in the sense that you can use it like a normal amplifier, valve amplifier, 100 watts, nice and powerful with a bunch of channels and switching. Or you can plug it in to your computer and use it with the built-in 2-notes technology. It's got stereo XLR out on the back, so you get a nice wide sound, and it has all the same tech that things like the D20 and the G20 have, and some of the other Revv amps, where you can basically plug in and use the 2-note suite. You can check out a load of different IRs, you can tune things, add reverbs, wideners, loads of stuff like that. So that's all built into this. It's also worth saying that the way this amp works in terms of switching is nice and easy. It's got, I believe it's relay switching, and it's got like a memory kind of thing going on, so you can sort of turn on different parameters depending on what channel you're on and things you like, and then it'll remember when you go back to that channel, which I think is really cool. It also has a foot switch included with it, which you can control all the different modes with the amplifier, but you can also control it with MIDI as well. It's got all MIDI ins and outs on the back. So before we get into all the different guitar tones, I've got a Strat, Les Paul, Mayonnaise, and my Chapman Baritone. Let me just tell you the feature set of this amplifier and we'll get stuck in. So as I said before, it's 100 watts, 46L6, so it's nice and powerful. It'll have a nice chimey clean to it as well, and that American sort of high gain saturation. But each channel of 3 channels has different characteristics, which are sort of signature characteristics of Revv's amps. So for example, on the clean channel, you have a wide switch, which you can access just by pressing the clean button again. And then channel 2, being the crunch, it has 3 different drive modes. So you can take a crunch from being sort of a low gain, mild crunch with something like a Strat, and you can push the channel 2 switch a couple of times, and it'll give you 2 different versions of drive, which is really good on top of a bright switch. The bright switch changes the characteristic really nicely, so if you're playing a Strat, you could maybe not have it on, and then if you grabbed a Les Paul or something, you could throw the bright switch on. It just gives you a little bit more bite, so that's great. And then the 3rd channel, which is the Overdrive channel, has the infamous Aggression Modes, which is part of Revv's sort of signature characteristics of their amps. So you have blue aggression and red aggression, which are different sort of clipping modes and gain stages, which can take it from like a nice fat edgy rhythm through to like ridiculous saturation for like leads and all that kind of stuff. Where this amp also excels in terms of added feature sets, it's got a built-in gate with a threshold that you can adjust on the back. It also has built-in reverb, which is really cool, and there's a reverb level on the back. Would have been nice to have that on the front if you ask me, but it's on the back so you can adjust the different level of the reverb. And of course you can apply that with the whole memory relay switching to just have it on, say, the clean, but not on the Overdrive if you don't want it. In addition to all this as well, you've got Bluetooth functionality or USB functionality, so you can control this with the torpedo remote either with your computer or Bluetooth, which is really cool. And you also have a rotary switch on the far end, which allows you to choose between 6 different presets for the 2-notes that's built in to change up the IR. They're all different Revv IR presets built into this for different tones, whether it be like heavy rhythm, lead, clean, crunch, whatever. It's all built into there. And preset nicely, but of course you can add your own IRs if you want to. You can, adjust things as you want and save over the presets and just fine tune it how you want it. It's got 2 masters, presence and depth. It's got bias ports on the back, so you can do that yourself if you want to. It's fully MIDI functional. You can also send MIDI cable from it to one of the Revv cabs, which will sort of mimic the same lighting, because of course each channel represents a different color. So like Crunch is green, Clean is blue, and red is Overdrive. You got all the usual stuff on the back, like you've got all the different speaker outs for different ohmage cabs and stuff like that. You've of course got your USB out, you've got the XLR outs for the built-in 2 notes, effects loop, serial effects loop, which sounds fantastic. There's a ground lift switch as well, so they've kind of just bunged everything in. There's also a headphone port as well if you just want to play silently. There's also an internal load, so if you're not plugged into a speaker cab, you can just use that internal load, so you can run the head on its own, silent recording with the XLR out, which is a very handy feature for someone like me that lives in a place like this. And if that wasn't enough, you can also switch it from 120 watts down to 10. So I think I've covered all of the features of the amplifier. If I've missed any off, I apologize. I'll put them in the description box below. But there are a lot of features with this, and I think it's the same whether you get the Generator Mark III as well, or depending on what model, but any of the Mark III stuff has this feature set in it. It's like they realized how good it was using the G and D20 with that stuff, and they've applied it to the bigger heads now. So these things are just kitted out with everything. And if you like the sound of Revv amps and the feel of them, then it's a really nice feature to have. Of course, it's, you know, hand built in Canada, so it's going to be expensive. I think they're around $2,699 or euros, around that kind of price. So it's an investment, but you got all that functionality in there for the modern day musician, songwriter, a band member that works from home or on stage. Anyway, I've talked enough. Let's crack on with the video. Signal chain, just so you know, I'm running the 2 XLRs out with the built-in IR, so you'll be able to hear that. But I'm also running it into my 2 Notes Torpedo Studio. We're doing double 2 notes here, 2 noteception, which I'm running a Zilla V30 IR and I believe a Mesa V30 IR, one with 57 and one with a Royer. So we've got a bit of different speaker and mics going on. Alright, so I figured I'd start with a humbucker guitar, something modern. I'm making the assumption that a lot of people that may get one of these amplifiers may have a guitar similar to this, or a modern guitar. But of course, as you know, I like to use Strats and Les Pauls and other guitars, and also Revv amps generally sound pretty good depending on what you put into it anyway, so that's really cool. But in any case, I figured it was easiest to show you with this. So, the MKIII, we'll start on the clean channel, and I'll show you some of the cool stuff that you can do with the clean channel. But anyway, here we go. This is the MKIII, middle position. It's a super warm and powerful clean, to be honest. It's really, really warm, and it's got loads of low end. But anyway, let's try out the reverb. So you just press that little LED on the end there. Yeah, I like that. So anyway, what we can do now, which is really cool, is you can add the wide switch. So you press channel 1, throw on that wide switch. Adds like a little bit more power and gain almost. So let me take it out again, play that. Back in. It's really nice. Happy with that clean. But the cool thing is, something you can't necessarily access on here is the double tracking thing that's built into the 2 notes. It's called a double tracker. So you can only access it when you're using the 2 notes and program it in to one of your presets. But let me just show you what happens. So this is without the double tracker. Now let me just switch it on. So I've just turned it on using the software app. Yeah, it's useful. It's one of those things I feel like it's more fun to play on your own. Like I wouldn't record with that because it would be all sorts of phasing issues. But if you're just playing on your own, it's kind of a nice effect just to have. So that's the clean channel. It's pretty straightforward. You've got a 3-band and a level and the wide switch, of course. So depending on what guitar you use, you just ride the level as you need and the EQ's there. But it's all the way in the middle and I think it sounds really nice. Generally speaking, when you get these modern high gain heads, the cleans tend to suffer, or at least they used to. I don't know if they do as much anymore, but this one doesn't seem to suffer from a bad clean, so I'm quite enjoying that. And the wide switch definitely helps bring out that high fidelity of the sound, and yeah, I'm into it. Okay, next up, the crunch channel. So let's switch over. Now, it's everything set at 12 o'clock, the gain and the volume. So this is what we've got. Bridge pickup. Just so you know, these are the silo humbuckers from Bare Knuckle. So this is the bridge. So it's a nice barky clean. Let me just grab the Les Paul real quick, see how that sounds. Just grab the Les Paul. This is it in E flat, just so you know. It's going to sound a bit weird straight away. Well, that's C sharp. You can already tell this is a good channel for this guitar. So there's a couple of things we can do here. Firstly, we'll try the bright switch. So this is without it. Bright switch. What I like about it, what I'm hearing here with the bright switch, is that it kind of brings out more of the kind of stringy jangliness of your guitar. So let me play this little... It's nice and warm, but you throw the bright switch in, you get more of the string. And of course you can ride that again using the presence to counteract it. If it's a little bit too sharp for you, you could use a treble of course, so back off the treble. As opposed to treble at 12 and bright switch off. Back off the treble a bit, put the bright switch back in. So you can keep the same kind of brightness by riding the treble and messing around with the bright switch, but you change the overall characteristic of the gain, which is quite nice. Between the two. One's warmer and fuller, and the other one's got a little more like spikiness to it, but it's quite nice, especially on a guitar like this, which is quite, not dull, but it's just warm. It doesn't have high output pickups to pick out all the harmonics, the top harmonic frequencies. So yeah, I like that. The next thing we can do is show you the drive modes. So everything, again, back to 12. Now all you have to do is just flick the channel switch. So this is straight in normal channel 2. And then if I just go drive mode 1. Let's have a little bit of reverb. It's probably a bit too much reverb, but it's nice. Again, it's adding like more sort of fizz, but not bad fizz, you know, like this is without. Put it in. Now let's try the red drive mode. It's like a nice sizzle. And now if you throw the bright switch on with that, might back off the treble a touch. So I'm digging that for a rhythm, especially a rock rhythm, like a heavy rock rhythm with this guitar. Really enjoy that. So let's just turn the gain up. I like that channel. It's a really nice channel. The response and the feel, but we should try it with a double tracker just to see what it does. It's a cool thing. I think it works better on the clean for me. Like I would probably use that more on the clean. Something it kind of it takes away a little bit from the girthiness and power of the crunch channel. But I imagine if you were to put a load of reverb and delay with that and do more of the push clean thing, which we'll try in a bit, that might actually really work well for it. Before we move on to the Overdrive channel, I thought I'll grab the Strat to show you what it sounds like with this crunch channel, because obviously a Strat being single coils, it's going to be a little more kind of spiky and plinky to the ear on a higher gain amplifier. But the nice thing here is that we've got the bright switch to compensate for that. So I haven't changed anything just yet, but this is what we've got. We're on the red drive stage, so the highest drive. There's a lot of gain, and the bright switch is in. So this is what we've got with the Strat. I got a bit carried away because I liked the way it sounded, but as you can probably hear on the bridge, it's a little sharp. So if I take the treble down, take the bright switch out, it depends if you like that quality from your Strat tone, but if you want it to be more of a thick rock Strat tone, But you might want it on the neck pickup because neck pickups are inherently duller. Well, not duller, but like they don't pick out just the same amount of attack. If I take it off, back on again. So you could just, depending on what you're trying to do with your Strat tone, you can use that switch. Of course, you can program it with the foot switch, and also it remembers it depending on how you want to program your amp. So that's really cool. Back on the mayonnaise, let's go for the Overdrive channel, channel 3. Again, everything's at 12 o'clock. Pretty much everything. Yeah, it's all at 12 o'clock. And we're not going to do any of the aggression or any of the bright switch or contour or fat switch, which is on this channel as well. But anyway, this is what we've got. It's got a nice amount of compression to it. Again, there's no reverb. Let's throw some reverb on. I like this channel. It feels good for lead. When you've just got it on the standard mode, so like channel 3, obviously I've got the reverb in, but before I've done the aggression and stuff, it's like suddenly you get this mid-range power. So let me just take off everything. So this is channel 2, red drive mode. It's more sizzly, scooped almost. And then when you switch over, you get all the mid. Quite a jump, but what you can do to that is like use some of the character switches, like contour, of course, and then add the bright switch. So, and now it changes it to what would be, you know, a bit more shreddy. So this is without those. For me, that's more rock, fat rock. But then when you throw on at least contour and bright, so you get the difference there. It's nice that you've got the option. And then the fat switch, it's without the contour or bright, but just the fat. So now it's extra girthy. Throw the bright switch in, get rid of the reverb. And this is just without any aggression on, so, you know, let me take those off and we'll go through the aggression modes. So this is just the standard one. Push it in, we get blue aggression. And then the red aggression mode. Oh, it's great. It's proper shred. While shooting this video, at no point have I thought to myself, oh, you know, like this doesn't feel like it's for that kind of playing. Like, you know, like, should I grab the baritone and start riffing out some heavier riffing and stuff like that, which I will, but it really does the kind of shreddy, rocky, fat rock kind of thing really well, especially with all the different guitars I've tried. The crunch channel, the clean's beautiful for the chime, and, you know, if you want to do the ambient stuff and you just need a clean, and it's a really nice one. But between the crunch channels 2 and 3 with all these switches and stuff, you can get some of the coolest, like, fat rock tones. Yeah, really enjoy it. Really like it. Let's try a different guitar. Les Paul. So, in my opinion, I'd put the bright switch in here. Or, alternatively, just boost the treble. But I prefer, like, getting the sound out of it I want without touching the EQ yet. I feel like EQ is more for fine tweaking afterwards. Contour. What if I want to go for, let's say, a fat rock? So I'll do contour and fatness. Yeah, it's fat, okay? Bright switch, contour, and fat. I wish we had this amp when we recorded that riff, because that's great. That. Something about a Les Paul with the right kind of amplifier does that really nicely. So I'm enjoying that. It's probably a good time to show you the gate. Gains on full. Let's do that. Let's just add all this so you can hear that. Switch on the gate. Remember the threshold's on the back, so you just set it where you want it and then you just turn it on. There you go. Probably the wrong guitar for that style, but yeah, that's really good, and it feels quite natural. I'm not really a fan of gates personally, but for the right style of music, that would be very helpful. Okay, so let's try the baritone. Obviously, we're going to do some heavy riffage, but I wanted to start with some ambient push clean stuff. So I've loaded up Capital Chambers Reverb and Galaxy Tape Echo from the UA plugin stuff. Just figured it sounds really nice, so I was going to use that. But we're using channel 2, no brightness, no drive modes or anything. We've backed off the drive a bit, and we've boosted the treble and presence in position 4 to give us this tone. So I think that's a really nice ambient push clean tone. It's nice to know we can get that. Nice and responsive, it's not over powerful, and we've got plenty of scope to gain that up. But anyway, let's try out the distortion channel. Sounds really good. Let's try the fat switch. It's dirty, really, really filthy. Right, aggression. Let's take off a little bit of bass. Aggression blue. And it's still not that noisy. Right, let's go for red aggression. We're on the red aggression mode, loads of gain, and I've thrown the gate on, so. It's a really good feeling channel, loads of gain on tap, and it works really nicely with those switches, whether you want to do the shred thing, the fat rhythm thing, the djenty thing, the modern thing, the metal thing, plus the fact you've got a gate on there, so there's no limit to how much gain you want to add to the sound without being able to control it. So it's a really nice addition to this amplifier, having that gate in there, and it feels like it's a well thought out gate. It doesn't just thing when it's trying to open or close or whatever you want to call it, which some gates do. I don't have a technical term for that, but you know what I mean. Okay, so we're on to the final part of this video, looking at the Revv Generator 100R Mark III. And I figured for this bit, I'm just going to show you the presets that are loaded into the virtual cab selector. And the cool thing is that you can change your settings and do everything you want on the front like normal, but we can just skip through the different cabs so I can show you the kind of things you can do with it. I've got a screen grab running so you can see how the suite works. And of course, there's the double tracker feature too, which is great. This is where we're at. We're currently running channel 3, aggression red, contour, brightness, put the fat switch in, loads of gain. And this is the first preset that you get when you buy this amplifier. So I might throw the contour on, boost a little bit of mid, bit of reverb. Oh, we still got the gate on. Let's take that off. It's really nice, and it doesn't feel too dissimilar to what I'm used to because I was just running the Torpedo and it's built into this anyway. But you know, the IRs are the Revv cab packs, so they sound a little different to what I'm used to, but nice and girthy, so I've got no complaints there. It's a great sounding cab IR actually. Preset 2, let's move on. So, oh, that's way girthier now, like you can feel in the mid-range, so let's put the contour on. Sounds great. Just wanted to point out before I carry on, you do have a level on the front here for that, which you can balance. I've balanced it between the Torpedo and the built-in 2 notes so that we've got a similar volume level. Let's try cab preset 3. As far as I'm aware, some of these are designed for different channels. I feel like the first two were maybe designed for the Overdrive channels. This one's more chimey. It's nice. Let's just keep the same sound, move to a different preset. So now on to preset 4. Oh, that sounds a lot better for clean, actually. Getting loads of chime there. What's this one like? Oh, this is the double tracked one. I can always tell. It's a really nice showcase of it, having it on the front of the amp like that. Let's try that with Overdrive. So for me, I wouldn't use that for rhythm at all, but I would definitely try that with lead. Like if I was playing live, I wonder how that would sound through the PA. Like it's cool, but it's worth saying that you can see on the screen grab that you can change the tightness of that as well and the balance of it. This is tightness all the way off. Or maybe tightness all the way up on full. I think when it's counterclockwise, that's tightness like to a T. And this is tightness all the way up. Yeah, that's so you can hear like the more you turn it up, the less tight it gets. Feels like I'm playing in a club with a really hard reflection. It's cool though. It just messes with the phase, so you couldn't track with it. Like you can hear, there's no low end now. Because if I take it off, listen to the low end. It's a great sounding speaker preset though. Yeah, it's fun. It's a really fun amp. Like, there's a lot you can do with it, you know? Right, final speaker preset. Okay, well I feel like that brings us to the end of this video. I've gone through all the different channels and the modes that you can select within the channels, and we've tried out the built-in 2-notes, which I think of all the products that I've heard that have had sort of built-in cab presets and stuff like that, this is probably the most satisfying one to my ear. All the cab presets sounded great. Usually I'm messing around and tinkering and changing things, adding my own IRs to stuff, but with this, I was like, I actually really like the sound of all of them, personally. So that was nice. I feel like they've spent a lot of time making sure that the presets in this, when you plug it in, work for you and just sound great straight out of the box, which I like. I think that's probably what they've done. So I appreciate that. Hopefully you can agree with me that this amplifier sounds fantastic. The clean channel is wonderful. It's got loads of chime, loads of low-end support, and it feels like a nice amount of compression that they've tuned into the channel itself, maybe. Overall, it's a nice sounding clean. I love the wide feature that they've added there, because I don't know if it just sounds like there's a bit more compression or gain or something. I don't know what they've done to make it work that way, but I prefer it in than out. You know, in the studio, I can certainly hear that. It sounds better having the wide switch in than off. Channel 2, having the two other drive modes on top of the initial one and the bright switch gives that channel loads of scope. As you heard with the Strat, sounded really good. And you can take the bright switch off if it's too much. Whereas with the Les Paul, if you add the bright switch, it brings out the string ring a bit more. Really depends on the kind of tones you want, but it's a great great channel for shaping around kind of heavy rock rhythms, hard rock rhythms and stuff. And then channel 3, of course, you heard it had the girth, it had the balls, it had the gain, it had, you know, and then a bunch of different switches to carve out the sound how you want it. Particularly the contour and brightness takes it from what I'd consider to be hard rock to metal. The fat switch, I think, is just dependent on the guitar that you're using. Really, for me, that's where I feel it made most difference, you know. And then in the aggression modes as well, like on the other amps, like my Revv Gen Mark II, having the aggression switches on those channels is really handy, just if you need a little bit more. And for me, red aggression is all about lead, blue aggression is more about modern, and non-aggression for me is more about like straight up hard rock, verging on metal. My thoughts on the amp as a whole in terms of who it's aimed at, I would say more modern and contemporary than classic for a start. Like, I don't think you can get really cool bluesy stratty tones out of it, but you get Strat rock tones out of it, more modern stuff, hard rock, and then of course all the way through into metal, heavy metal, progressive metal, gent, thrash, whatever. It definitely handles a lot of different tones. What else do I think? I think that it's the first amp I've come across, I believe, in recent times where they've added this much external features to it to make it work in the modern day. You know, now we live in this world of tech and everything's moving so fast. We love the traditional amp circuitry and the way it's designed and the way that it works with tubes and transformers and all the rest of it. Whereas what's nice here is they've implemented as many things as I feel you can do before you start really compromising the amp. Like, the Bluetooth thing's mental. I think that's really cool having Bluetooth in there. Having the built-in 2 notes, of course, I think is almost like a must nowadays with a lot of modern amplifiers. Like, I'd never suggest that with like a Tone King or, you know, like a Fender Deluxe Reverb. I would never suggest doing that. But any modern amplifiers where you guys are probably going to be doing, you know, more modern music or working at home in a studio, I think it's a very useful tool having stereo XLR out with an embedded 2 notes with all of those features and presets that you can access on the front. All in all, I'm impressed. I think it's a good amp. I think it sounds fantastic, and I really enjoyed using it in this video. And I think the added feature set that they've thrown in there has taken it that one step further, so that when you invest in an amp like this, spending $2.5 grand upwards, you know, it's not just about the great sound and, you know, all the rest of it. There's loads of other tools in there that I think are worth the money. I do think that. I think for that kind of price, you're getting a lot. If you want a hand-built amp from Canada with all those features in there, I think it's a fair price for what you get. Not only can you use it on stage and it'll sound huge, but you can use it in the studio and in between, so you can preset and all the rest of it. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll put links in the description box below. Thank you to Revv for sending this amp over and asking me to do this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching as always. Like, subscribe and share. Let me know what you think in the comments. I've been Rabea and I'll see you all very soon.